Oh, that's great, Nataliia. Good. Hi, all. We'll get started in just a minute or two. And if you'd like to put in the chat box where you are coming from today, joining us from, that would be great.
Svetlana, I have to tell you how much I enjoyed looking at all of your videos in preparing for the webinar. So I'm hoping lots of people will come and visit your YouTube site.
All right. Well, we will get started. And again, if you would like to put where you're from in the chat box, I see we have Lancaster, Pennsylvania so far. We'd love to see where everybody is joining us from today. And thank you for joining us for the fourth webinar in our Fall and Winter series. The series theme is Trauma and Healing, Teaching and Learning in Today's Climate. My name is Kim Klett, and I am the Deputy Executive Director for the Educators Institute for Human Rights. EIHR cultivates partnerships among educators globally to create materials and deliver training based on best practices in Holocaust and human rights education. Together, we deliver content and strategies for teaching conflict history and prevention and sustainable peace. Learn more about us at eihr.org. After we end the program and the recording today, feel free to stay on if you have further questions for our guests. We would love to continue an informal discussion for those of you who would like to stay on for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes if you have the time. We are so happy to have so many of you with us today, both returning participants and brand new folks. We know you will enjoy today's session, a discussion with Ukrainian teachers 1 year later. We hope you can join us February 12th, when Holocaust survivor Peter Feigl joins us with two USHMM teacher fellows, Sheila Hansen and Lisa Bauman, in a program titled Trauma and Resiliency, One Holocaust Survivor's Continuing Journey. And we'll put that link to register in the chat box. I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. EIHR respectfully acknowledges the Piscataway and Nakachank or Anacostan people and the elders both past and present throughout the generations who have stewarded the land where EIHR gathers. To learn about whose land you reside, please visit native-land.ca, and we'll put that link in the chat box as well. Today's webinar, if you've joined us before, it's a little bit different in that we're going to begin with a recording of an interview that EIHR staff member Nataliia Naiavko and I conducted with two Ukrainian teachers last weekend. We recorded it because with the war continuing, anything can happen. Electricity can be spotty, for one example, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to have a full conversation. The two teachers, Oksana and Dasha, are in Dnipro in central eastern Ukraine. And I want to show you a map of where that is so you kind of have an idea of what that looks like and where exactly it is. So a lot of people are familiar with Kyiv, which is right here in central Ukraine. And we're going to have them joining us from Dnipro. And then also, Nataliia, I know I will botch that name. Do you want to say it?
Kривий Ріг. Kривий Ріг.
Yes, thank you so much.
And Kim, I noticed one of my friends joined us from Zaporizhia, and you can show where Zaporizhia is.
Right
So,
here.
yeah, thank you, Svetlana, for joining us.
Yes, and so they're all kind of in this general area, just to give you an idea of that.
Yeah, which is very unsafe nowadays.
Yes, exactly. I think you're going to be amazed by these teachers' resiliency, their compassion for their students, and their ability to still laugh and to find hope in everything. And then after the interview, we will be joined live by Nataliia and Svetlana Melobenska. She is a sand animator who came to Canada last year, only bringing with her the special table that she uses for her work, and you'll see a video of what that looks like. For those of you who don't know Nataliia, Nataliia is Ukrainian. She is based in Edmonton, Canada, and she has been teaching for 24 years in Ukraine and serves as a special language advisor. She is a USHMM Museum Teacher Fellow dedicated to the prevention of mass atrocities and building sustainable peace. She has a particular interest in Ukrainian history and international equity education. Over the last 15 years, Nataliia has helped organize numerous activities and projects on human rights, youth engagement, and foreign language education. She was a Ukraine National Fellow in the Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program, TEA, administered by IREX and the US Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. As part of that program, Nataliia studied curriculum design at George Mason University. She also completed the Teaching English to Young Learners, TEYL, online course from the University of Maryland. And as we begin today, please feel free to put questions in the Q&A for us. We would love to have those, and we will answer them as we see them and as we're able. I know Nataliia is going to help a lot with that. And so with no further ado, I am going to share, getting it set up for sound here, and I will share the video of the interview. And here we go. All right. And there we go. I wanted to make sure it's on there. Okay, we're ready.
Hello everyone, my name is Dasha. I'm English teacher from Ukraine. I have been teaching for 15 years already in the same school, my native school that I graduated from. It's a rural school, not far from big industrial city Kryvyi Rih, and Oksana and I, we are neighbors because we are from the same region.
And can you please specify where it is located in Ukraine? What part of Ukraine?
Like central part and close to the east, maybe.
Yeah, it's closer to the east. Yeah, thank you so much, Dasha. Oksana,
Yeah,
over
so
to you.
my name is Oksana Lozhnikova. I'm a teacher of English and a teacher trainer. And I'm not very good with mathematics. I started teaching in 1996. So I spent a lot of years teaching in general school, and then I quit and I just teach in different projects like American Council projects and teaching teenagers. I also have some groups of small kids and of adults and some exam preparation groups. Where I live, like Dasha already mentioned, this is the regional center, like we say, Oblast center here at Dnipro. 1 million people live in this city, and it's definitely closer to the east, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your introduction, ladies. Can you please, let's start our talk. Can you please tell us what it has been like trying to teach with a war going on? Are there any logistic problems that you are facing? And how do you still manage to teach? Are children attending schools or is it online? Like, just feel free to tell us about that.
So in my case, we like study online from the very beginning of the war because there is no shelter in my school. The situation in the whole region is really difficult. The last events really awful, like showed us that there is no safe place in Ukraine at all. And the first 2 weeks were the most, the most difficult because our souls, our hearts, they were numb, really. You didn't feel anything at all, just, we were afraid of everything. And the scariest thing was this feeling of uncertainty because you don't know what is going to be, you don't know how far Russian troops are at the moment. So we didn't study for the third and the fourth week of February, and after that we had managed to come back to online mode, and the first lessons were really difficult as well because we need not to teach them but to support, to show somehow that life is still here and we need to fight, we need to support each other. And the same feeling, the same need, the same demand is here, still here, because in all these air raids alerts, all the blackouts, all the missile attacks are still here with us. So last week was like total disaster for Dnipro and for Kryvyi Rih, because I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit nervous when I'm speaking about war, and so it takes a lot of our efforts, of our inner energy, of our hearts and souls, just to do our job and do it really great with this focus on trauma-informed approach, when we need to understand that my students are behind the screen and I will never know their feelings and their states to every detail. So I need to take in mind that they need me, they need some moments of happiness, they need some time to talk about anything in any language. They need to understand that we care about them, and Ukraine is going to win without any doubts.
So what I can add, we are teaching online. I'm teaching online. Do we face issues? We are facing them every minute. So if the electricity is off, I will be off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have. I have the same situation with my students. Some of them are staying in Dnipro. Some of them left Ukraine. So I do have students all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And with those who study abroad, they manage to study in Ukrainian schools online, and say in German schools or in Czech schools at the same time. So we do have very clever students. That's what I need to say here. And this is actually true. So they study twice as much as other children in the world, and they manage. And take into consideration that what I do now is evening course, which they take to improve their knowledge of English. So they manage even to have extra courses. So that's this part. Talking about this part, talking about more issues. Yeah, we do face them because they switch off electricity on the regular basis, and when they switch off electricity, we run out of the internet because it is connected. And it means that students just cannot study normally and regularly. So we need to come up with different online tasks for them to cope, or just to devote our extra time to explain the material, to cope with all the material that we are teaching. Mm-hmm. And one more thing that is really important here is this switching from curricular to student-centered approach, because testing does not matter anymore. Mm-hmm. I would say there is no use in testing. It's not like we prepare and then we can check. It's like what they do, it's already excellent. And of course, they cope with less amount of material. That's what I feel right now. I need to say.
And so do you think that for them school is a good diversion, you know, to kind of, like you said, a lot of them were doing extra things. Is that kind of a way to cope? Like, I can focus on this schoolwork rather than what's going on outside.
Of course, it's their routine. It's their comfort zone. And here the teacher, the personality of the teacher is number one, probably how you organize this atmosphere, this work. And it's the place to hide. I think Dasha will agree with me. So they run to the lessons to feel comfortable there, and to play, to communicate, to share their feelings, and to improve their knowledge. That's what you can control. I would say the same about myself. So for me, the lesson is the escape. Yes, I stop thinking about the war. Yes, we don't know what is going to happen next. Like Dasha said, my city was bombed. Lots of people were killed, and I know some of those people, and I heard the sound. I had to talk, sorry.
Yeah, we are sorry that we are speaking about this, but it's very important for other people to hear what you are going through and what the children in Ukraine are going through. And not only in Ukraine, like there are lots of places in the world where people are going through different kinds of atrocities. And it's important that we are talking about it and we are spreading the word. So you say that it's the school is the sense of normal for the students, and it helps them maintain keep to the routine. Are there any behaviors changes that you notice in the children? Are they probably more organized?
Normally children are happier. They are more open. They come with lots of jokes. Like that's my normal lesson. I can hear whatever, and I laugh. But now they come and they are quieter. They are much quieter. And we prefer not to talk about the war. It's better not to do that if you show this webinar. So please do not ask them too much about it. Like, how are you? Like, do not show this curiosity, because curiosity for people who go through such things is the worst thing you can demonstrate. Because, it's like taking an interview in the hospital where the person is in a very hard condition. So we need to be sensitive. It's better to be sensitive about it. And it's better not to talk. Just ask them if they are okay or say on the scale from 1 to 10. And if they are very low, ask them what can be done to improve, maybe to play, maybe to watch something, whatever, but not to focus on what is going on.
I completely agree with Oksana, and I would like to add that primaries, they're more flexible because time flies with them even faster with the teenagers, for example. That is why it is to some extent it is easier to work with them. They are motivated. They are going to switch from task to task. They still enjoying playing, singing, whatever. But I've got like a really interesting situation last week. We were revising the English alphabet, and when we came to letter Z, my Alex is in third grade. He says, "Oh, Russians stole this letter," and letter V. They are bad guys. This letter is not good, and it was like a moment. Oh my God, what should I do? After that, I tried to convince him that it is English letter, and Ukraine will win it back. We will win, and no more letters for these bad guys, you know. And after that, you will never know what could trigger your students.
Mhm.
But regarding teenagers, you see, they could be demotivated because some of their achievements are not important or are impossible to, to realize during their wartime. For those students who are learning online, they are missing their classrooms a lot, really, because there are different situations in Ukraine. Some schools have shelters, and the western part of Ukraine study offline mostly. It depends on the region, on the city, on the village, but still, in our case, it's really, really situations that we study offline, only online. So we lack of this interpersonal communications, these hugs, these chit talks during the breaks. So the psychological component is really important, and we need to pay more attention to such pleasant things during our online lessons. But still, we need to enhance, to motivate them, to boost their interest, to grab their attention, like because they are unfocused. We need to revise our materials regarding the triggers, and it's a really, huge amount of work.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you so much. And what should people outside Ukraine know about the war? What would you tell them? I know it's a difficult question. I know it's difficult to speak about that.
I would tell them, I was traveling for some time in England, and it was in several more countries, and there is some kind of popular opinion that this is Putin to blame. I would like to share my opinion, and a lot of people have this opinion in Ukraine. This is not Putin to blame. This is the responsibility of the whole country, because they come here to kill. They come here to destroy the whole cities. Not the only building that was destroyed last week in my city. They are doing it on a regular basis. They come here to rape women and children. They come here to hurt, and I think everybody should know what is going on here.
And it's impossible to imagine, but we should try to put in our thoughts and the picture of a country where the whole life of each and every citizen is on pause. We just stop at the moment. And now, as a teacher and as a mother, I'm thinking all the time that my students are limited in their chances to develop, in their chances to study, to be together, to spend time together, to laugh, to play, to do whatever they do, without thinking about bombs, attacks, and enemies. The war has changed everyone, but children suffer the most, because it's so important, not important and impossible to explain why Russia kills us. For what? Because there is no obvious reason. And it's impossible to explain what is going to be next. Where to go, what to do. We have tried to do it. We have managed to support our students because we should win. Ukraine should win, because it's like a power of the everything good that we can imagine right now in the world. And yes, we are unbreakable, we're independent, and we need to do a lot to support this idea and to support this light in the eyes of our students. It is difficult, really, especially after such, I don't know how such awful attacks, bombing, and everything else.
I'm very proud of you. And can you please share what you do to take care of yourselves? And where do you find this strength and this courage to continue to be strong?
We are working. We are working a lot. And you know, maybe the most challenging part of our work is to continue to do the same, to teach in all the situations, to do your best despite all the challenges and the issues, to believe in the power of Ukraine and Ukrainian army, because they are superheroes, all of them. And to believe that we will have really bright, independent, free future without Russia on the map of the whole world.
This war influenced me, it influenced my family. My daughter studies in the west of the country now because they are booming less there. It means that my child, who is just 17, lives on her own. This is hard. I know, I'm so emotional today.
That's okay, Oksana. That's okay,
Because
Ed, this
it
is fine.
hurts. It hurts, it really hurts.
Yes, I am far.
So
I'm
we
in,
can't talk.
yeah, I'm in Canada, but you are absolutely right. Whenever somebody asks me, how is it going? How do you feel? I start crying because I have my dear friends, I have my relatives, I have my country in Ukraine. Ukraine is my country, and it's experiencing these difficult times, atrocities, and war. It's hard.
And Kim and Natasha, if you allow me, I have some simple photos just to explain maybe some my thoughts even better than others. And if I am able, I can share.
I think you
Just
can.
give me this permission, because you know, when you teach in any other country of the world, you will teach them 21st century skill, you will teach them technology, you will teach your students all the syllabus and national curriculums. And we are teaching how to survive, how to support your country, how to be on the positive track, how to do your best, and all the other skills that every teacher in the world teaches. And I would like to share this picture, maybe one of my favorites. There is my daughter Alice on the right, and her classmate, a good friend Nastya. March 2022. They're making nets for the Ukrainian army because they wanted to support and still want. There was days without any learning in our school. Just it's a school gym, basically. We are in the gym. We are making these nets with all the teaching staff, with parents, with some other students, and they were 11 years old. It's great. So you see that skill we should develop in our students to help them to manage the situation. Not technology, not digital art, not English. These, survival skills. And what helps them still is great that we've got our great friends, our partners, our friends all around the world, and Sana and I, we work with this organization, Go Global, and June 2022, there was a really great online camp with some creative tasks, motivational speakers, really sessions. So again, Alice and Mark, also her classmate, they were doing this task, and just it was like a way to heal themselves and us as well, because we need to switch. We need to teach our students and their parents maybe sometimes how to support your country. So it's like donation box, glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes, some finances to the Ukrainian army. So again, they sold all the stuff to collect something and to support. They use their mobile phones to send money and just to be as good as they are. And still, after 11 months of this awful war, the situation in my school is the following. Empty classrooms, without students. Russia still kills us. Russia still kills the chances of our children for the happiest life. And, you know, we don't know where students will be able to come back. They are in Zoom, they are teaching, but we are missing them all.
Yes, and so many schools have been destroyed. So many residential areas have been destroyed. Where do people go when missiles, when Russia destroy their houses? Where do they go?
I think
What do
there
they
is
do?
there is a strong community support. It's what I'm observing now here in Dnipro with these broken buildings. So lots of organizations like NGOs, for example, and even banks. Yeah, we have Monobank that is collecting especially money. They are collecting money and they are helping. So that's just the help that comes from our people themselves. And some international organizations as well. No, honestly, none of the organizations helped me. I don't know, maybe someone helped Dasha. Not really, yeah. So yeah, because you know that I also talked to some friends who are abroad, and I say, Oksana, what do you do to stay online? And we bought a generator. She said, yeah, a lot of people are helping here with generators. Dasha bought a generator herself. Me too. That's expensive for our money, but we do it just to go on working without to be able to work, not to stop working. So in most cases, it's like people help themselves. And this is true. My husband is a military man now, as we have the war. So our army needs a lot of support. And a lot of people from the country, like me, like Dasha, we support ourselves. So we donate to the army ourselves. This is like, I say that because I do that and because I do have information which I cannot share, but which I have. Yeah, so we support ourselves a lot, and they do need support. You know, whatever we are talking here, we need strong army to protect the country. This is number one. We need to be protected.
If people would like to help, what would be needed most? And what are the ways that they can help?
I think, Natalia, these are very good questions, but they are not questions to the teachers of English in Ukraine. It's not our zone. We can talk, but we do not have good answers to this question.
Maybe the one thing that we can mention is just not to remain quiet, but share, ask for help to Ukraine, ask for, sharing some information, sharing posts. Again, we need, our country
to raise awareness, you mean?
Yeah, just to inform the community that there is Ukraine in the world, and Ukraine is fighting. And still, this country needs a lot to win, because if we win, there will be a really new world. It will be much better.
Have either of you found, either for yourselves or with your students, that anybody has started like keeping a diary or writing as kind of a way to cope or to, or even just to record what's happening?
Really,
I think
okay,
no, you just go on. Sorry.
To be honest, I haven't asked them, because for me it's so difficult to ask. Maybe it will reveal after the Ukrainian victory.
We are focused on survival. We are focused on creating the atmosphere for them to feel safe. And yeah, and this is psychology. So like a specialist can talk about it. I'm not sure I can do it as a teacher. So it's too personal.
Yeah, but would it be, do you think it would be, for it would help you to keep track of what is going on, and it would help you cope with emotions if you yourself started, noted like one word, one sentence, and maybe writing down your feelings and what is happening, and then like that, like, you know, from the past, from the history, when we are reading the diaries from different people, we just can understand what was happening at that time, and you might preserve the history for the future generations.
I will not be serious. I would myself buy a bottle of wine to save it for the victory. Maybe there are people who need a diary. I need support, I need friends to talk and hope for the better.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have heard that such a journal or diary could be a really powerful tool, but maybe not for me at the moment, because it's impossible to find some powers and time
Energy.
to write it. Yeah, you know, I was looking for some photos for this very short presentation from this whole period, and you know, now I'm happy that there are like this bright and happy photos, mostly, not so many of this disaster. It doesn't mean that we are going to forget. We'll never. Every day, and maybe it will be easier to track all the feelings on our Facebook pages, because everything important is there. Yeah. So yeah, for some people, such a diary would be a great tool, but it depends. It depends on the person.
And Dasha, I'm so glad you brought up and shared those photos, because you're right. Or I know here in the United States, at least, you know, when you look at the newspaper or you look at social media to see what's happening in Ukraine, it's, you know, the war type photos that you expect to see. And we don't see these moments. I think the only positive one I saw was quite a while ago of people dancing, you know, or there was, I think in Kyiv, some controversy about whether you put up a Christmas tree or not. And so that, you know, there was a picture of a Christmas tree. But other than that, we're seeing very wartime photos. And so I'm so glad you shared those hopeful photos of young people.
Thank you, Kim. And you know, there is one thought in my mind. We are blessed. Thanks to God and the Ukrainian army, we are at home. Our homes are okay. I've got my school, and the building is okay as well, except some windows that were broken after one of the attack next to my village. And there is a lot of more difficult situation. Ruined schools, a great amount of students who are abroad, really. And some of them are not able to come back because there is no place, there is no town, there is no village to come back. Alice's grandfather and grandmother are in the Donetsk region. And there are a lot of attacks every day, and they're still teaching. So my photos are normal to some extent. And eastern and southern part of Ukraine are suffering, you know, even like more serious advertisements. So
I would also like to share, we do have those, you know, Telegram groups or Viber groups with students and parents. And we have a new part of our reality when in my groups from time to time after bombing. I can ask something like, is everyone alive?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not like your homework. It's not like, dear parents, I would like to inform you. What used to be a normal part of our communication. Now we have different question, and then the answers come in yes, 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 yes. So hopefully I get yeses.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Oksana and Dasha.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know, or anything else you'd like to share that we haven't asked?
We are thankful. So thank you for caring, for asking us how we are feeling. Because it's extremely important to see that people are not indifferent, that people care. And when my friends from the US and from other countries keep on writing and asking, is everything fine? Or it's a regular, Oksana, it's just a regular check. Are you alive? What happened in Dnipro? And so on and so forth. That's extremely important because this is support. So thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, thank you. We hope our experience will show our colleagues from the USA, from Canada, that there is, let's finish maybe on this positive note, there is always a place for some optimism, but sometimes you need to fight for it. So we are fighting.
Thank you so much. And I just noticed, Kim, have you noted that when Oksana and Dasha were speaking about students, were speaking about different activity they are doing with them, they become bright and positive, and I'm sure that your students are very happy to have you as support, and to have you as an like so hopeful and so powerful teacher. Thank you so much.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Nataliia, because it makes me think of, that teaching during a time like this really is an act of resistance and solidarity, and showing that yes, we will continue, and we will continue to teach our students and bring this normalcy to them, and provide for them in this way. And that's so important. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for sharing with us. And Oksana, I will raise a glass of wine to you in solidarity soon, hopefully.
We will meet and do it together.
Yeah,
Sure.
even better. Well, thank you both so much. And Nataliia, thank you for facilitating this and setting it up. And I will keep in touch via email with both of you. And this has been wonderful. It's been such a pleasure and honor.
Right. Thank you so much for your comments. I can see your questions and comments. Kim, over to you.
Yeah, so I just wondered if you wanted to take the question about if anybody is able to have their students send letters or anything like that, if that's even a possibility right now.
I think yes, and that is a wonderful idea from Martin to exchange letters from the US with Ukrainian students. I do have their contacts. Dasha and Oksana have lots of collaboration with other schools across Ukraine, and especially in the eastern part of Ukraine, or it doesn't matter, as you've heard, there is no safe place in Ukraine. And even if students were from eastern parts of Ukraine, they are displaced. Many of them are displaced, and they are located in the western parts of Ukraine. They are also going through trauma, and they left their dear school, their native town, their native cities, villages, their homes somewhere. So they do need support, and the letters would be very helpful. I also saw the question about diaries? Well, you've heard the answer. Maybe there are some students who do write diaries, but well, we need to make a research and see whether we would be able to find people who feel like they would like to write something.
Thank you, Nataliia. And so for the next session or next part of our session here today, we're going to look at healing and meet Svetlana, who has been doing something really unusual. And so Nataliia, I'll turn it over to you again and Svetlana.
Thank you, Kim. I would like to introduce Svetlana Melobenska. She is a writer, a sand animation artist. She is from Vinnytsia. She came to Canada in October. And as Kim mentioned at the very beginning of the session, Svetlana brought not her personal belongings, but she brought the tools for sand animation. I mean, the table and a lamp. She came here with her two sons. Her husband and her elder son are left in Ukraine. Svetlana is also recognized as an artist, and in July she got the International Order in Cultural Diplomacy for her sand animation. Svetlana, over to you. I will share the video. Can you, Kim, enable the sharing of the screen so that I share the video?
Sorry. Yeah.
And Svetlana will tell us about herself and will speak about her school. Svetlana is the founder of school. She had a school in Vinnytsia where she taught children to do sand animation. So Svetlana, over to you. I'm sharing the video and you can start talking.
Okay. Hello everyone, I am Svetlana Melobenska, the founder and director of the MS Art. I am happy to introduce myself and my team. This is a team of sand artists from Vinnytsia, Ukraine. Since 2012, we have been developing and popularizing sand art in Ukraine and all over the world. Sand and light table are the tools of our work and also the magic of the flow of sand which help us convey the message. In one moment, I see universe and a huge wall in a grain of sand, said William Blake. Since 2012, I have been working with children from 6 to 17 years old. These are individual and group sand animation classes. For 11 years, I have managed to develop training programs and publish a beginner's guide. Sand Mastercraft, practical keys to creativity. My students set 2 records in sand art in Ukraine. When the war broke up, I wanted to help my students, and I have created a secret chat group called Stories of Patriot, where we write the script to our sand videos. It is a relaxation ability of sand that positively affect the emotional state of student. Children continue to create drawings on sand and practice in sketchbook because they are little heroes with big hearts. This is a magic of sand that gives them the strength to study the history of their country, the history of culture of our Ukraine. Natalia helped me. And
Thank you, Svetlana. I will
so,
take over.
yeah.
Yes, Svetlana also said that using the combined elements of art therapy and psychodrama, we can reproduce the events, change them, which is what is very important, destroy them, and then start anew. This helps children to overcome their trauma. You can see how happy they are, and that was before war. The mirages of sand pedagogy are distinguished by the ease of manipulation, the possibility of inventing new forms, and the short-term existence of the created images. The sequence of the creation of pictures, the transformation of one plot into another, reflects the cyclical nature of psychological life. In addition, the dynamics of mental changes help to provide access to the verbal level of the psyche. This is especially important if the injured or traumatized child doesn't want to speak. And we do have so many cases when children, after different kinds of atrocities, they are reluctant to speak. They can use their non-verbal expression. The property of sand to pass water allows us to conclude that it absorbs negative mental energy, cleans energy, and stabilizes the emotional state. Svetlana?
So welcome to Land of Sand, Fantasies, where I and my student grow the future creates a new world and look for new horizons of our lives. Inside it of 1,000 worlds, let the voice of the sand be heard. Це найкращі моменти, які я можу зараз переглядати.
Yes, and Svetlana says that these images just throw her back, and this is the best part of her life.
Але я сподіваюся, що ми можемо допомагати дітям за допомогою піска і за допомогою мистецтва пісочної анімації.
I just had to mention Svetlana's is only learning English, and she never learned English before, but she's doing a great job. Therefore, I'm helping her with translation. She says that we can help traumatize the children and those displaced children to use the sand animation and overcome their trauma.
Тому що все, що лежить у душі, ми можемо перенести на пісок, і я вже повторюся, витерти це все і залишити в пам'яті, але не в своїй душі, для того, щоб рухатися далі.
She says that all the emotions that we have inside, we can put in the picture with the help of sand. This kinesthetic touch of sand helps a lot to bring the emotions from inside, and then we can erase everything and start anew. The memories will remain, but the feelings would come out.
Діти повинні жити далі, повинні розвиватися, рухатися і відпускати ті жахливі моменти, які вони пережили.
The children need to live. They need to continue doing what they have started. So they need to erase the negative emotions, and they need to cope with them and continue growing.
І я сподіваюся, що це буде корисно, і вчитель, який я є в душі, буде корисна для діток українців, неукраїнців, які переживають такі важкі моменти.
And she hopes that she would be useful in supporting educators to learn how to work with sand animation. Svetlana has developed the guide of how to teach students creating sand animation, and she wants to help children, not only Ukrainians, but any children who went through atrocities, to cope with their negative emotions with the help of sand animation.
Нехай вони стануть справжніми чарівниками у житті своєму і відкриють дива для світу.
Let them become the true magicians of their life, and open new horizons in their souls for the world.
Це дуже корисно для дітей, і це має сенс, адже коли очі діток сяють, це найбільша нагорода для усіх батьків, для усіх вчителів.
It's very beneficial for students to do sand animation because they are getting involved, they are getting encouraged, and they are happy doing that. Just have a look. Here they prepare for the annual concert. They wanted to celebrate their anniversary. And this is the last video she recorded before the war. And
це останні моменти нашого заняття в студії. 23 числа.
That was on the 23rd of February last year. They were getting ready for the concert. No more schools for them.
Yeah.
In this studio.
Але я люблю своїх чарівників, і ми з ними на зв'язку завжди. Це, ви зараз бачите, Ладу Козак, дівчинка, яка втратила батька нещодавно, але...
You see Lada Kozak, the girl who got the Grand Prix in France, in Paris, yes. And in December, her father was killed at the front line. So they are not only drawing, they can also write something. They create stories. And you can see how concentrated they are. They need to use lots of different skills in order to create such pictures.
Це минулого року ми записували новий рік. Зараз ви бачите, давайте пропустимо. Зараз це співпраця з музикантами у Франції була у мене.
So this is the collaboration with music. Svetlana not only combines, Svetlana also combines sand animation with music, with different stories. As I mentioned earlier, she is a writer, and not only she, but the students as well, they also write stories, and then they put them on sand.
Так, а це ось те, що ми говоримо, що дітки, які об'єднуються і творять дива, вони мають майбутнє.
The students come together, they cope with emotions, they have their routine, and together they can overcome more. Thank you, Svetlana. And I know that you want to share your screen because you would like to show us some technique, some strategies, how you create sand animation.
Так, ми можемо продемонструвати зараз частинку малюнку. Ось мій стіл, на якому я працюю. Я сподіваюся, вам добре видно. Я вже підготувалася і зараз за кілька секунд.
So this is the table that Svetlana uses, and you can see the sand, and it just takes a couple of seconds to create a picture.
Малюнок.
So here is the picture. And you can also guess what is Svetlana creating. And you can type in the chat your guesses.
Я сподіваюся, пані Наталі, що все чудово видно.
Yes, we can see, ми бачимо все чудово. Я запропонувала написати у чаті, що ви створюєте.
Мгм.
Поки що я не бачу відповідей. Я бачу мрійливе і з надією обнадійливе лице дівчини.
Так. Яка тримає на руці пташечку, і символ миру.
Угу.
І я думаю, що це те, що зараз нам усім дуже потрібно.
And you can see the girl is holding a bird, the bird of peace. And this is what that everyone needs right now.
Я дякую вам всім за увагу і сподіваюся, що пісочне мистецтво змінить світ, змінить душі дітей і допоможе їм подолати важкі часи.
Svetlana hopes that sand animation will change the world and will help children cope with their difficult emotions and difficult times that they are experiencing. Thank you, Svetlana, so much.
Дякую вам. Thank you
Можете-
very much.
Thank you. So we are happy to answer any questions. Kim, do we have some?
Not right now. Does anybody have any questions you want to pop into the chat box?
Yeah, and I can see in the chat box that Svetlana Zhitnik from Zaporizhia, she is also a teacher, made contacts with Martin, and hopefully they would be able to exchange letters.
Yes, and Kate just dropped in the YouTube channel
Mhm.
for Svetlana. So if you all want to check that out, you might want to grab that link. It's amazing work. Thank you so much, Svetlana. This is incredible.
Дякуємо вам, Світлано. Ви бачите
Я
посилання на
дякую, я
ваш
бачу
канал.
повідомлення і бачу, що люди відгукуються і все подобається. Я щаслива, що сьогодні в цей момент можу поспілкуватися і насправді, коли запитують, що потрібно, як допомогти українцям, Україні, діткам, і поки тривав чат, я також була на зв'язку зі своїми вчителями, і вони кажуть, ви знаєте, допомагайте краще ЗСУ, ми впораємось.
Mm-hmm. And Svetlana says that while we were having our webinar, she contacted her school asking, how can we help? What can we do for you? And the teachers replied, you know, we will manage. Just help our soldiers, help our army to protect us. And I know that everyone would be able to find any opportunity, any possibility to help the Ukrainian army. Raise awareness, ask your presidents, ask everyone who is in power to help Ukraine.
Thank you. And I think that we hear, you know, because it's today we have mostly US teachers with us. And I think that we all remember, you know, this is no comparison by any means, but back to the pandemic. And I know at EIHR, we had the dispatches project. And that was such a catharsis for kids who were, you know, home and didn't have those outlets of school and such that the teachers were mentioning earlier. And so art like this can be such a great way for students to feel normal and to get their feelings out. So again, I really applaud Svetlana's work.
Thank you. And as she mentioned, she has developed the whole workshops, a series of workshops for teachers to help them, to teach them how to use sand animation in their work with students. So like having a sand animation table in the class might be a good opportunity for students who experience trauma, different kinds of, to experience to play with sand, you know, using fingers, using kinesthetic skills, and using the fine grains of snow or of sand to help them cope, just to touch sand. I hope, like I believe that everyone of us made sand castles on the beach. So this is the same.
There's something very soothing about it. Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much. As I mentioned, I am going to stop recording. And if anybody would